These are the things that matter. Do you think that one's math grade correlates to these? It turns out they actually don't. Are you with me?
Yes.
All right, I could use an amen right now. They also, interestingly, these skills, again, unlike GPA and SAT scores, persist across class, gender, race, and IQ. Consistent. And the workplace values them too, right? You know this. This study that many of us know identified the top desired skills and qualities in the workforce. 5 of the top 6 are non-cognitive. 6 of the 14 total are non-cognitive. All right. What does this mean to you? Why am I telling you all this? I have no idea, but I love this talk, so I invited you. There's a room full of people I'm giving it, right? No, of course. This has everything to do with you. First of all, for you personally, and me, let me tell you something. Here's what this means. With college changing, with everything available online, with independent, self-paced, self-guided learning available right here at your fingertips, you can go to school at Harvard, Stanford, or MIT right here. It means we had better pay attention to our continued learning and pay more attention to that than we pay to our resume, because we will compete in the marketplace and in the workplace and in the job market against people and with people who have built lifelong learning portfolios. So individually, if you're not a lifelong learner, now's the time to become one. Because the people you do business with, the people you compete against in the business place, in any job you compete for, there will be people who have done that. So that's my personal advice to you. But for today's topic and session, you as community leaders, the message I want to send to you is this. It is vital to our democracy. It's a wonderful thing in our democracy that we have a variety of kinds of schools. This is a good thing, okay? And that we have some degree of choice for ourselves and for our children and for our grandchildren. One size does not fit all. If I asked you right now to stand up and swap shoes with some random person in the room, there would be 3 obstacles. One would be the ew factor. It's just gross, okay? One would be the value factor. Some of you spent more on your shoes than others. Yep, for sure. But I don't think anyone's wearing a $5,000 pair of shoes. But what would the real major obstacle be to all of you swapping shoes? They're not going to fit. If shoes aren't one size fits all, what makes us think our brains are and schools should be? How does that make sense? So, it's critical to a democracy that we have an education system that will attempt to ensure minimum levels of literacy. We've got to have that, bring the bottom up. Minimum levels of language literacy, numeric literacy, and civic literacy. That's important. But there's also a role for specialized schools. And you've seen some of this today, right? Now these can be schools that focus on a narrow or specialized range of skills, such as trade schools or special needs schools. Some we used to call vocational schools, right? These can also be schools that use a specialized teaching methodology. Montessori schools, or Reggio Emilia, I can't say that, Reggio Emilia schools. They can be schools that maintain and espouse and teach a particular ideology or theology. Catholic schools are like this, Jewish schools to maintain the Jewish culture. Certain Christian schools are like this. But if I'm right about this revolution and the changes that are occurring in our world, and if I'm right that there will be casualties and there will be survivors and there will be winners, then I'm pretty sure that the winners won't come from these narrowly defined schools. Now we need survivors, right? So, I'm not bashing those schools at all. There's a very important role for those kind of schools. But I owned up early on that I wanted to talk to you about what it takes to be a victor in this environment. I believe that the students who successfully navigate this brave new world will be the students who attend schools that pay attention to the entire spectrum of their development. They're academic, they're non-academic, and I would say even their spiritual development. And this is what schools like ours, mine, Episcopal Day School, Augusta, Georgia, 2248 Walton Lane, pbsaugusta.com, along with Becky's Augusta, a prep, and Westminster School, the three independent schools, the three members of NAIS, the three members of the Independent Schools of Augusta Consortium. This is what these schools are about. This is what we do so well. It's why we exist, okay? We build an enriched culture. We build an enriched set of programs. Those programs focus on the individual child. We build a community of challenge and support, service and respect. And we pay as much attention to developing the non-cognitive skills as the cognitive. I think, did I have any more slides? I left some slides. Oh, that's the one you need to see. Now, my particular school, which has 20% of our families come from Columbia County, here's where my brief commercial comes in. I know. You told me they didn't want a break. Just quick commercial. My particular brand of this, at Episcopal Day School, we take a unique approach because we blend a focus on the critical foundational years. We do pre-K through 8 on purpose, okay? Where middle schoolers especially get the focus they need, because actually in brain development, it's in middle school where all these things actually happen in heart. That's another talk I'll come back and do. We blend that with religious education that honors the faith traditions of all of our diverse students, while still giving them a foundation in theology, in Judeo-Christian texts and history, and within a culture and community that prays and worships together. For us, that gives everything else we do context, purpose, and meaning. End of commercial. Okay. I came here with a purpose. I had 3 goals. First was to convince you that the world is changing and a revolution in higher education is underway as a result. Have I convinced anyone? Yes. See some hands? About half the room. Everybody's awake. That's a good sign. My second goal is to convince you that a diversity of kinds of schools from which to choose is a good and important thing for a democracy. Are you convinced?
Amen, brother.
About half the room. And an amen? All right. And the third thing was to convince you that the schools that prepare students for top levels of success, meaning, satisfaction, and impact on the world, will be the schools that pay attention to developing non-cognitive skills. Have I convinced anybody in the room? My work is done. Thank you very much for your time and attention.